We're not paid to give them the American dream. We're paid to keep them out of it.
Welcome back to the Midday Ghost Show. I'm your host, Matty Hag, and even though it's a couple days late, let's finally talk about Gigi Saul Guerrero's Culture Shock. I loved this movie. I thought it was so great. I thought the social commentary was really powerful, and also it was just genuinely terrifying. In some ways, I feel like it, some of the people who worked on Get Out worked on this movie, and it captures the spirit of Get Out while being completely its own thing and almost having elements of like The Matrix in it all at the same time. Just totally wild, but I loved it. The story follows this character, Marisol, who's played by Martha Higuereta, and she is this woman who is trying to come to America for the second time. She had tried previously with a boyfriend who had raped her and made her pregnant and left her behind in that first attempt of a journey, and now she is close to giving birth and she wants to give birth to her child in America. So she hires a coyote and they begin their journey with a group of other people, and almost immediately upon beginning that journey, things go horribly awry. And just when things get really kind of gnarly on that journey, you're not sure if she's gonna be alive or if any of the other characters are alive. She just wakes up and she's in this house in totally different clothes, and she's speaking English when she had not spoken English at all earlier in the movie, and nobody that she was with was speaking English. So as far as we understand, nobody that she was with knew English, but now she's speaking perfect English. And she's living in this house with this person named Betty, played by Barbara Crampton, who, if you aren't familiar with her, she's in just a million, billion, dillion different horror movies. Reanimator comes to mind, but she's great. She's just this, like, housewife kind of a character who's overly nice to Marisol and kind of weird, and also, upon waking up, she has given birth to the baby that she was pregnant with, and she didn't, remember giving birth or anything. The baby is just born, and Betty is holding on to the baby and not letting her hold the baby at all. Kind of just always sort of pacifying, like, oh no, why don't you go do something else? I got this, I can take care of this. And so it's just already immediately there's something that's kind of off. And as she's exploring the town, she begins noticing things are a little bit weird. People are behaving weird, and things get especially strange as she starts seeing people that she was traveling with also not acting like themselves, not sounding like themselves, and just sort of being completely different people altogether. I was sucked in. I felt like, how there's movies that start off slow or that can be sort of like, okay, you're waiting for like the moment to happen. I feel like that kind of happens with horror movies a lot, that there can be, some slow bits and like, where is this going? This movie is fast-paced. You keep going, and it's always engaging, it's always pulling you in, and I loved it. The visuals made me think almost kind of Wes Anderson-y when they're in the town, because of like, every time she wakes up, she's in a new dress, and that dress matches the shoes that she's wearing, and everybody's wearing very like color coordinated clothing, and just everything's very overly perfect. Very like Tim Burton trying to show you the suburbs in Edward Scissorhands kind of a look, like a distorted view of the 50s. I don't think it's terribly spoilery, but I love that like the bad guys in this movie are Creed from The Office, whose name is Creed Bratton, and I think that's his character's name in The Office as well, but he plays his character Atwood, and Shawn Ashmore, who's Iceman from X-Men, and his character in this movie is called Thomas, but it's two dudes you don't necessarily think of as like bad guys, but I don't know, they're great. I don't want to spoil how the movie goes or it ends, but a scene that really sticks out to me is when you first see them eating pizza in the town. It's like there's weird cuts, and like the faces that everybody's making, they're like enjoying that cheese pizza just a little too much. It's like really crunchy and slurpy. I don't know, it's somehow simultaneously funny and disgusting and kind of spooky. Just overall, a very strange eating scene. I don't know if I can think of another eating scene that has stuck out to me like this. Maybe the one from Hook, when they're like eating the fake food and start flinging it at Robin Williams, but that's not a horror movie. But I guess something that's common in Gigi Saul Guerrero's movies is adding in just these little dashes of humor into these really grotesque movies and stories and moments. I mean, one that sticks out to me is her short film that you can find on Amazon Prime, El Gigante. It's like not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but kind of also the Texas Chainsaw Massacre while being its own thing altogether. It's a short 15-minute movie where for the first 12 minutes of it, you know, it just, the intensity and like kind of gnarliness of it just keeps building and building and building and building and building. And then the end, at the credits, all of a sudden you just get complete levity. It's disgusting, it's weird, but it's so funny. That's another one to check out. I'll have a link for El Gigante down in the description below. But as I said before, I love this movie. I think that it's got something for people who are into horror, and I think it's got plenty for people who aren't necessarily, you know, wouldn't describe themselves as horror fans, but I think that the message of the movie is really powerful and definitely worth checking out. You can find it over on Hulu, and I'll have a link for it in the description down below. If you did end up watching Culture Shock, leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought and maybe what moments stuck out to you. But even if you didn't see Culture Shock, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, maybe consider giving it a like, and if you're not subscribed, you could always subscribe. That's helpful. And if you'd like to help yourself, you know, you could always ring the bell for notifications, because Lord knows my upload times are very inconsistent. With that said, you know, Quarantine-a-ween is coming up in just about 2 weeks, so I feel like I can afford to bring out some Halloween stuff and finally decorate my place, because if I don't, then I have to wait till Summerween, and that feels like a small eternity away. I'll see you on Wednesday when I wrap up the spooky story of the month and talk about Mexican Gothic. But until then, stay spooky, everybody.